I'm
And
scared.
we're going to continue. First, we're going to say, please, if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe. That would really help us out. That'd be cool. We like people who subscribe to us more than we like people who don't. That's the way it is.
I like that.
That's the way it is. All right, let's continue. Last time we stopped at the judges.
Now let me get the banner up after you read that.
The banner up. All right. Just joined, and I heard him to spread it. What?
Hey, we talk about everything here. There's nothing off limits.
All right, fair enough. Now we're going to speak about the clanners. These ones wasn't a huge fan of, but hey, you know what?
You too?
Can't be a fan of everything.
They have a role. They have a role in the game. It's just not a role I want to play.
Every one of these 13 cults fit in the game. They were made that way. They were made well. They are all puzzle pieces that fit together to create a picture of the entire world. You don't like every puzzle piece. You just understand that they all fit together and everything's fine. Mentioned the website also doubles as a character generator tool and campaign manager tool. Yes, it does. If you go to the website, you go to the character generator, and it will help you generate a character. Now, for the first time, I do like every role-playing game for the first time, I would ask you to sit with someone who's done it before and go through it by hand. Once you have that experience, then the character generator is an amazing tool, especially for game masters creating NPCs.
I didn't like the character generator the first time I used it because I didn't understand what was going on.
Exactly.
I used the book, and now I get it. And now I love the character generator.
Exactly. That's how most character generators work. All that stuff in the background is stuff that helps your decision making. So do it the hard way first. Understand what's going on behind the scenes with the character generator, and then the generator will help you out. Anyway,
I got one more comment to make. I said this about Bessem. If you remember, I said this about Bessem. Totally different context, but the same concept. You could tell that Mark McKinnon for Big Eye Small Mouth loved his game. He put a lot of care and a lot of effort into it. Now, if you try to compare Bessem to this, you're going to say that's apples and oranges. It is. One's an anime point-based system that's written cartoony. This one is a serious post-apocalyptic game that's written with this in-depth nature. It's completely apples and oranges games, but you could tell that they put the same amount, not more so, love into this game and the way they wrote it and the way they got the art and the way they put the packaging together and everything, as like Mark McKinnon did with Bessem.
Yep. You can tell when you're reading a book if someone really cares, and they really care. All right, clanners, lost tribes of humanity. See, when the Eschaton asteroids hit, sure, it decimated the world. There are some places that were cut off, especially rural. I hate that word. I can never pronounce it very well. Places.
Hey, try have my wife say it.
Yeah, this is where most of the early tribes came about. How did this happen? Well, farmers got together. They formed clans of their own, tribes of their own to protect themselves from raiders, help them grow their crops, feed their families, and over time, necessity made them more violent, and knowledge was lost. Unlike in people near ruins of cities, stuff can be scavenged. Books survived. Not all of what was gone, but in some areas, cut off from the access to knowledge and written knowledge and technology, all of that's gone. Survival was king. Culture was worthless because it didn't help you get food. It didn't help you defend from raiders. And technology broke down a long time ago because there's no spare parts. There's no manufacturing areas nearby, or that you can get to, or hasn't been picked clean already. So you're back to, stone arrows, beaten down rusty metal knives. You're back to that. And so anything to survive. It didn't matter if it was moral. There was no such thing as just. It was, did it help you survive? Yes or no? Yes, incorporate it into your tribe. No, lose it. Was there incest? Yep. like I said, cut off areas. Your clan, your tribe has to grow. And if you have to marry your cousin, you got to marry your cousin. That's how it works.
And hope that
you need more
one out of
people
4
to defend
odds.
your land and what you got. How about cannibalism? Sometimes crops fail. Sometimes cows die from plague. You need meat. Got to have protein. Those raiders that you killed, guess what they got? Meat. So, yep, cannibalism too. And then, after hundreds of years, the world got smaller. As the surviving societies expanded out, they came across the clanners who were cut off from everyone else for so long by geographic boundaries created by the Eschaton, or just they didn't want to go anywhere because they had a good thing and just stayed there. And a lot of these other cults saw these clanners as animals in human bodies, lost all their humanity, all of their what made people more than just wolves, just predators. They lost it all. And when the clanners saw, say, the scrappers or the chroniclers or the judges, they just saw non-clanners because their tribal mentality. Now, I am simplifying this, of course.
We need to for this overview.
We have to for this overview. But that's the rub there. Okay? All of the clanners, which there are many of, different tribes, but same cult, same basic idealistic look at the world. What they do help them survive for hundreds of years. Therefore, it is good.
And to be fair, they're not absolutely ridiculously stupid either.
No,
they actually have thought this through.
I mean, think of if you want to think of it this way, think of how the English saw the Africans when they first met. Think of how the American colonizers saw the Native Americans. That's how some of the other cults see the clanners. Are they right? No. Is that pretty racist? Yeah.
Human nature.
But
my society is better than society.
To look down on something that you don't understand or agree with. The fact is that all of these clanners survived just as well as the scrappers and the chroniclers and the judges and whatever. They just survived in a different way that some people look down on. Is that the wrong way to look at it? Probably. Is it human nature to do that? Probably.
I think it's all nature's. Everybody wants to survive. It doesn't matter if you're an amoeba or a human being. And exactly. You're going to do what it takes to survive as a species.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Crafty posted also that he has a friend that he tests systems with and so forth. I do the same thing. I've actually brought like Forbidden Lands and so forth to work. Say, hey, since we got a little break time here, let's try these dice rolls. I've also had my wife jump in. Of course, she gives me the stank eye every time I do that, but because she doesn't have an interest in this. But same basic thing. Before I try to talk about a system, I run through a play test of it, whether that's with people or just one other.
Right. All right, let's move on from the clanners.
Okay. Do you want me to show anything about the clanners, or are we just moving on?
Oh yeah, that's all right. Go ahead.
It's up to you.
Go ahead and show how the clanners think of some of the other cults.
Surprisingly, again, like the judges, not as over the top as you might think. There's a couple in here. Let's look at the apocalyptics. They foul every nest with no sense of honor at all. They seduce our children. Keep them away. Scrappers. What have they done that their family casts them out? That they have to atone alone in the dust? Hey, get away from that thing, Scrapper. Let's look at one a little bit more. Let's look at judges. Where are the judges? Jay.
Right there.
They have killed many of us, men, women, and children. They will not be the last to die, and every murder makes my heart bleed. Now we are back. Build your walls high and bulky, and hide behind them. We are coming.
Oh no, against clanners, the judges would be a goddamn plague because their codex does not jive at all with the clanners' mentality of
It's
survival.
oil and water to the nth degree.
Exactly.
So
Not
we got
good.
Alkar, he's from Poland, so Poland. Freka of the Corpse Eaters, that's gross.
Yep,
and she sharpened her teeth. Isn't that cute? Yep. So she's from Borka, well, of all places. Hopefully not the Protectorate, because she's not going to make it long there. And Lurin, who looks like he's straight out of Mad Max. And again, great art. Even the black and white art is good. The Mediator. Ooh. Well, it's long ago, Lurin was sent with a Meccan to seal a pact between the Romain region ruler and Justitian. I wonder if this is supposed to be like where I am right now. I don't know what this. Meccan died of a fever, and Lorne had to go on alone. He spent years on his own in the ambassador's quarter, but also in Tech Central to learn more about pneumatic gear. So much has happened since then. The Phosphorites have conquered his home, only to be vanquished themselves right afterwards. The Meccans rule over the Romain region. Over the Romain region is broken. The Meccans rule over the Romain region is broken. There we go. Although they will not admit it. The Numancers are not their bloodthirsty Jesus, I'm making up words. The Numancers are not their bloodhounds anymore. Now everyone fights for themselves. Maybe it's time to go home. On the other hand, they treat them so well in Justitian. Maybe just a few more months. So there we go.
Again, like there are plenty of ways to play clanners, because a clanner could be from any number of different tribes with any number of philosophies that help them survive the hundreds of years since the Eschaton. So there's a lot of the clanners have the most leeway in their way of life than many of the other cults. So let's go ahead and throw up
Scrappers
again, and then we will go to our next, which is the Scrappers. All right, Prospectors of the Past. Now, Scrappers, initially, right after the Eschaton hit, right after the asteroids fell, busted up the land, the people that were huddled in their basements and bunkers and whatever, parts started breaking down. Water pump here, air filtration there, generator here. Someone had to go out and find spare parts. Not it. Damn it. So that guy had to go out into the ash-laden cold wasteland to find parts so the others could survive. That went on for a while. The problem is, after a while, the spare parts were gone. Things just started breaking down and could not be fixed. And so the Scrappers had to do something. I mean, they were good at scrounging. They were good at digging into basements and small areas, underground structures, finding things. It's just that now they're not worth anything anymore. And then came the Chroniclers. The Chronicles said, hey, we'll buy it from you. There you go. Here's your money. We'll take the thing. Now, the Chronicle never told the Scrapper what it was, what it did, how much it was really worth. You either take the money the Chronicler gave you, or the Chronicler walks away, because he knows you'll be back, because you got to eat. Now, some Scrappers in their old age, they get to some learning, right? Every once in a while, you'll find a technical manual. How to repair a generator, how to build a generator, what all the parts are, all the dimensions. He learns to read it. He becomes a mechanist. He's able to build generators. He's able to build water pumps. He's able to build air filtration systems. That's great. It's easier life. You don't have to risk your life in spelunking in some place that could collapse at any second. That's good, right?
If you survive that long.
If you survive that long, that's right. European Scrappers, they pass on their trade by finding orphan children. Why orphan children? Oh, because they're young. They soak up stuff like sponges. No, they
and
can
the parents
fit in
can't say
holes.
no. yeah, they're
they
canaries.
Can fit in smaller holes where you can't bring out stuff that you can't get to. If they survive long enough, get enough experience, they become scrappers themselves.
Hey, bring in Billy the canary.
Yeah, there you go. Right now, there's another main type of scrapper, the African scrapper. Africa wasn't as hard hit by the apocalypse as Europe was. Africa has actually flourished in the hundreds of years since. One of those reasons is because since they weren't as hard hit, they came out of their holes faster. They were able to build boats. They sailed across the Mediterranean to Europe.
They unified. And that was their strong thing.
Yeah. They were able to unify in a way they never have before.
Thank you, Spain.
They sailed across. Hang on. They sailed across Mediterranean to Europe, and they're the ones who picked the coast clean first. Scrappers in Africa are heroes. Children line up around them as they tell stories of their exploits, finding these things, building these things. Scrapper mechanists build siege engines for war, guns for battle, armor for their Scourger troops.
What are they called? Surge tanks or something like that? Yeah,
surge tanks. Exactly. That's what they're called. Unlike the European scrappers who are looked on as dirty and worthless, except to the chroniclers, they're dirty and worthless until they become mechanists. The European scrapper is a legend. People want to be him. It's like being an astronaut or a fireman. It's the same thing. So the dichotomy between the two continents is severe in this case. So if you can play a scrapper in a European-based game and play a scrapper in an African-based game and play a completely different world almost. It's crazy. So let's go ahead and take a look at what scrappers think about other folk. Go ahead and throw that up there.
Well, I get that up. So looking at some of the chat here. So welcome, G-Rock Pro. Thank you for coming by here. So are there different cultures among the clanners? Well, culture is a specific term for this game, and I'm only being a dick about that just because I want to stay with the game terms. But are there different types of clans? Yes. I mean, there are, yes. Let's see, it looks, somebody said something else I wanted to respond to. Oh, so Catharsis' book describes in brief 20 distinct clans. I didn't see 20 clans, but I might be wrong. So
we are talking about cults.
Oh, that is true. That is true. Okay, yeah, fair enough. See, I'm even getting the words screwed up here. So, yeah. All right, we always like to look at the Anabaptists because they come first. And what do the scrappers think about them? Anabaptists are armed farmers. They don't even get their cross and water crap themselves. Wow, well, there's a positivity for you. The only thing that matters to them is tilling fields, drinking, and killing aberrants. By the way, orgiastics? I like the sound of that. Baptisms aren't that bad. Okay. That ain't water in those barrels. Okay. Let's think of, clanners. In a hole full of insects, there are always some that want to bite you. It's the same with the clans out there. Some are peaceful and help you out with a flask of water and a piece of meat. Others will cut that piece out of you and feed it to their kids.
Exactly. Again, just like we said about the clanners earlier, each clan are grouped up in the same cult, but each one is a different tribe with different laws and survival mechanisms that help them live this long. So one tribe that's called the clanner will have a completely different outlook on someone than another tribe that's called the clanner. That's the way it is.
Sorry, I was typing to Crafty. Spitalians, because you started with them. Like, they think we're scum and consider themselves above us. They might be right. But we are free.
That is the one thing about a scrapper that can be said, that they are free. They live and die by their own hand. They need no one. They're the ones who go out, they find the things, They bring it back, sell it to the chroniclers, get money for food, lodging, whores, whatever, and then go back out and do it again. Once they could become mechanists, then they build their own things, sell it, get money, do the same thing. They are an island unto themselves.
So this is interesting. He isn't scrapping machine parts or anything. The head collector. Don't know what culture he's from. His concept is the destroyer. His cult, well, presumed to be a scrapper. A headless corpse lies on the pavement in Justitian's Defiler streets. The head missing, but obviously brutally torn from the neck. The blood is still wet. A female scrapper. Just like the last one. 2 days before and 3 roads away. The head collector's score is now 29-0 against the judges, and they still know nothing. Or could it be that the killer is actually protected from above? As some have no... Huh? Oh, I'm sure it's supposed to be now. Typo. As some have now started to suspect.
That right there is an adventure, an adventure idea right there for the game master.
Not sure I like that as a scrapper. I mean, look, I'm not saying no that it shouldn't be in the game. It's just I don't know if I like that as a scrapper. It's supposed to be scrapping parts, dude.
Yeah, not collecting heads, dude. Come on now.
All right, let me stop.
Don't be a D-bag. Don't be a D-bag. All right.
Do we have one more to go, or is that?
Oh, we got more. We got more.
Well, no, but as far as for the YouTube side,
one more.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move to Africa then.
Yes, we are. We're moving to Africa. The Neolibyans. All right. Neolibyans, merchants, mercantile power. Now, it all started with someone whose name is not known, lost history, about 50 years after the Eschaton, after the asteroids fell. There was a man only known as the Libyan. And he was a merchant and financier. He decided that he was going to survive by creating trade routes, giving people what they needed, and in return, he would get what he wanted. By the time he was an old man, he had created hundreds of routes, had hundreds of men working for him. And he passed on the foundation, the 3 rules that he lived by that gave him this immense wealth and power. The foundations go like this. 1, exploration. Go where others have not. That's the only way to find new customers. Has anyone gone over that mountain? No. Go over that mountain. Oh my God, there's a village. Diplomacy. Go to that village. Bring tea. Bring sweet meats. Bring dates, juices, whatever. Make friends. Talk with them. That way you'll find out what they want and what they need and what they're willing to pay for both. Then you can start making the deal. Sell them what they want for more than it costs to give. Profit first. Now you've created a brand new trade route that is profitable. A campaign set in Africa would be fun. Yes. Yes, it would, because Africa is rich. The reason being is because the Neolibyans are African. And as Max Liao said earlier, the Africans, the African countries no longer are at war with each other all the time. They are united in a way that they have not been since time immemorial.
There are still debates and arguments and little tribal things and so forth, but it's
minutia.
Yeah.
But the Neolibyans, they share their wealth with the villages because they understand that all Africans are one. That's their mindset. If they are prosperous, then they can make Africa prosperous. So the Neolibyans, with their Ferengi-like bargaining and greed, Seriously, I read this. I'm like, they're goddamn Ferengi. I mean, I'm looking for something about the rules of acquisition, and then I found the Foundation. I'm like, oh, they only got 3?
I still go with this. I liken them to Carthage.
Okay, fine. But they understand that their wealth kept to themselves will make Africa weak, and Africa will never be weak again. They share their wealth with the villages. So all of Africa prospers from the efforts of the Neolibyans. And even the Scourgers, who just detest the Neolibyans, must every time understand that without the Neolibyans, Africa would be slaves again. And we are going to get to the Scourgers, not this time if you're watching on YouTube. We're going to get there. We're going to get there soon. But if you want to see it, go ahead and subscribe.
Also hit that like button.
Yes.
And make sure you share this with people, because we're doing this as a live stream. YouTube hates us. Well, there's other reasons YouTube hates us, but you know.
But stick around for just a minute, because Max Liao is gonna show us what the Neolibyans think of some of the other folk.
Until I get that back up.
And then we are going to move on to the next cult.
All right. So we look at some stereotypes here. Well, let's look at what they say about the Scourgers. That's kind of important, don't you think?
That's coming up new. It's coming up soon, yes.
Great people, true warriors in soul and mind. At home, that's a problem. They ham up their roles and traditions, and we play along. But later in the north, now who controls who? That should be whom. Who controls whom?
Yep.
Let's see. Well, let's look at what they say about some of the other African ones. Anubians. They do not see the mathematical beauty in a balance. The gain. God, why can't I read, man? The gain and the loss, and how in the end everything leads to a result. Instead, they wave their bones, to each his own. Wait, are the Neolibyans the ones that don't say anything that doesn't have a direct profit motive? Like they won't even say hello to you unless there's some sort of profit motive?
It's not quite that strict.
Okay.
But their lives are chasing profit. That's their lives.
There's one more that's from Africa. What is it? I guess it would be them. The Jemimidans. The Yehamedans. They're not from Africa, I don't think. No. How long have they been opposing us in the Balkans? No, they're Balkans. Now they're discounted on the slave markets. Do not be fooled, Yemimid. Slaves are stubborn and difficult. Thanks. Not interested. Are there any Spitalians left? Wow.
Yeah, and that's another thing, because Africa is so strong. They have taken to raiding Europe and taking European slaves to work in the fields.
Well, again, Hyperspania didn't help the situation out either. If you go to last week,
I'm not saying that they didn't, that they started it. I'm just saying that they continue it.
So we got the adventurer, the traditionalist, and the conqueror. That's. There we go. I'm not going to read these. They're long, and I'm reading like crap today, so it's just not going to happen. So let me take that off the screen. Oop. Okay. There you go. All right. We are now going into our third. I don't even know where we are anymore.
Third YouTube video. Please subscribe. We are going to go over the rest of the 13 cults. I don't know about the rest, but more of the 13 cults. We just did the Neolibyans, if you've seen the last video, and now we are going to do the Scourgers, another African clan. The Lion's Claw. Now, Africa is considered the lion, and the Scourgers are its claws. These are the warriors, the African warriors, and they are no joke. It's like, oh, they brought knives to a gunfight. Yeah, but they got really good knives, and they're really good with them.
And surge tanks.
Yeah. Thanks to the African scrappers and the Neolibyan money, they got some pretty good weapons to back up their sheer physical prowess. All right, warriors of Africa and its spirits. They harken back to the old African warrior of the land. They train their bodies by free climbing cliffs, jumping through trees, running through Serengeti.
A whole bunch of parkour, huh?
Yeah, but basically that they sharpen their minds and their bodies with the land and they respect the land and the spirits of the land. They're like, they think there's like 8 major spirits of the land. I'm not going to go through them because of brevity of time. So I'm going to tell you, they are very spiritual. They are heroes of the people because everyone knows that the Scourgers defend them from the crows, the Europeans, and they should be hailed as heroes, and they are. Boys want to be them, women want to be with them. And that's exactly how it is. They are the soul of the people. They are the happy thought that African children think of to make them sleep well at night. All right, that there are Scourgers protecting us in the night. We are safe. That's how they are thought of in their homeland. Now, outside their homeland, they are thought of as murderous bastards, but that's in Europe, where they, well, technically they murder all Europeans, so or take them as slaves. So I get it. But, you know, at home they are heroes, holy warriors. They are, as a matter of fact, if you're going to build a house, if you're going to cut down a tree, if you're going to move a rock, you have to have a Scourger come to this area, consult with the spirits to see if the spirits can be appeased and not be angered by cutting down this tree or moving this rock before you can build this home or this business or this road. That's how much they are respected, and that's how much that they are feared.
I don't want to sidetrack you too much, but I really don't know the answer to this. How do they get along with the Anubians? Are they like friends, or are they at odds? I mean, I don't know the religious aspect of that.
Okay, they do not, and for the most part, we will see later when you go into the Anubian thing, they leave the Anubians alone because the Anubians are the weirdest clan here, the weirdest cult here. They're just freaking weird, and I got problems with them, and we're gonna get to them in a minute, and right. It's gonna be the way it is. All right, now the way a Scourger lives. They only have what they need. They're almost like wandering monks, really. I mean, they live an ascetic lifestyle, but it's okay because if they're hungry, any African will give them their best food. If they are tired, any African will give them their bed. If they need more armor, any blacksmith will give them armor or a weapon, give them exactly what they need because they are so honored. Those who take advantage of this, those who take more than what they need, this is gluttony. And the Scourgers believe that the reason Africa fell the first time is because of all the decadence from Europe. The fatty foods, the alcohol made them weak and able to be conquered. Gluttony, not just of food and drink, but of possession and mindset, will make a Scourger stumble and fall. And Scourgers police their own. If they find a Scourger who is hoarding things that are not necessary just to have, they take him out. They beat him to an inch of his life. If he doesn't repent, they beat him to death. That's the way it is. You're a Scourger. You are a warrior of the spirits of Africa. And if you are not, you're a dead man.
It affects more than just you and me. It affects our entire continent.
Yes, it affects all of the land, all of the people. One bad apple will spoil the bunch. One bad Scourger will ruin the legacy of all Scourgers everywhere, from before now to anywhere in the future. They can't have that. They can't have it. Now, the disdain for the Neolibyans. This one is a double-edged sword. They understand that the reason Africa prospers is in no small part to the Neolibyans. But like like I said, they live an ascetic lifestyle. They use only what they need. They have only what they need. The Neolibyans have an excess of everything. Sure,
I just read the
they give
quote
to the
about
villages, and the reason that the villagers can give them food, give them armor, give them weapons, give them beds is because of the Neolibyans. But it goes against their very lifestyle of living off the land that the Neolibyans exist. So at home, a Scourger will spit on a Neolibyan. They'll actually try and tear off part of their opulent clothing. But they understand that out on the field, those surge tanks, those mortar shells, those rifles that they have to use, that
funded.
Kevlar armor that they're wearing, all bought with Neolibyan money. They have to live with that dichotomy, and it pains them, but it's necessary. So you can go ahead and take a look at what the Scourgers think of other folk while I again try and fix this.
I typed in the chat, the spirit of the lion is coming after you. This is, to me, this is hilarious. Just let's start right off the bat with the Neolibyans. So this is what they think of the Neolibyans. Lazy buggers in colorful garments with a touch of ink on their eyelids. If you shake them, it rains dinars. Go ahead. Try it. I love it. Let's see. Let's look at Anabaptists. We always like Anabaptists because they're everybody's go-to hatred. A white man's warrior clan, Guardians of Pugari and Southern Borca. They don't consider us enemies and will regret it one day. Wow. Helvetics, we've gone through them. They've always been standing between the lion and the crow, trying to make some profit from their position. They make fearsome warriors with their rifles. Let's look at these down here. So what do we have for, wow. Mask. This guy reminds me of something like some video game, some like World War II video game or something, zombie Nazi thing. Let's read this one because it's short. Ephraim. Let's read Ephraim. So he's a seeker. That's his concept from Africa, of course, because he's a Scourger. Ephraim is a hermaphrodite, half man, half woman. That means it is nothing in the community of Scourgers. Oh, okay. Thus she furiously tackles any danger to impress others by her deeds and rise in her pack's pecking order. To no avail, she is and will remain a doofu. It's funny that they say she here when it's hermaphrodite. I'm not trying to get all weird SJW nonsense and so on and so forth. First of all, this doesn't bother me. It fits. Like, I mean, I could see it happens in humanity. It happens in the world. This isn't out of place. It doesn't feel forced on me. Like I have to accept some sort of weird pronoun or some crap. No, it's just there.
Yeah, and Aaron, did you read the stereotype section? Yeah, this actually, you know what? If you are some kind of SJW, you are going to be super offended by one of these cults because they are based on historical stereotypes of one type or another.
Especially if you dig into them deeply. I mean, I like to think that I know a bit about history. I'm not like not like a doctorate or anything like that, but I like studying history. And you can look at all of these cults and not only find that it meets something with humanity of the past or even now to some degree, excuse me one second, but that there's a historical context, usually in the culture, the land area that it's taken place, whether it's the Balkans or Borca or something, where you can look back and say, holy crap, in 1066, something similar like that happened. It makes sense for them to do that. Or, in 2000 BC, this was a way of life. In 1985, this was a way, you can see that in every single one of these. And we haven't brought that out a lot. I don't think we necessarily need to. But so these stereotypes are somewhat based on not these stereotypes. The cults are somewhat based on real world analogies to a culture of that area. And I thought that the subtlety of that Yeah, you could say, well, that's not really subtle. They punch you in the face. But no, there's a subtlety to how they incorporate that in also the post-apocalyptic, wasteland realm that this is. So I love it. I think that's put together. And again, this channel harps on SJW nonsense all the time when it comes to how like D&D 5th edition and so forth goes. This is not bothersome at all because it's one character. The only thing that I find odd is half man, half woman, but goes by she. Okay, I'm cool with it. I'm just saying, like, that's let me say it's surprising. But so far, there is little about this game. Oh, hello there. Got to mark this.
I forgot to ask you if you wanted me to censor this or not, but it's in the book, so I didn't.
Okay, never mind. You don't see. Did you show it?
They will in a second.
Oh, okay. Because I'm not showing it, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Nice body, though. Anyway, so I like how this book is put together. And again, I have to say it. We did catch a typo, actually 2 typos now, I think, today. Fine. They're 300-page books. I love the fact that they don't use the they, them bullshit that everything's going to now. When a wizard casts this spell, they get... No, it's supposed to be he gets. I took English in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I'm not willing to change my pronouns. I'm speaking like somebody who...
around it. If you say wizards...
There you go.
You can say they, and you're perfectly fine.
Or you can say he or she if you really think that is some sort of, there are multiple. We've gone over videos on that. I don't need to do that for
anyway. But, the last one for this YouTube segment is going to be the Anubians.
Oh, hold on.
What?
Crafty said, I didn't know this. So Crafty, I'm going to put this on the screen. This is, okay. If true, this is good information for everything. I did not know that.
Well, from what I understand, before testosterone affects a fetus, we're all female.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So Aaron, I don't know how much time you spend in World of Darkness, but one of the reasons why I like this, even though I'm not a huge fan of World of Darkness today, Heathen Dog actually ran a mage campaign for us in the 90s. And I really liked the stereotype section that came from the World of Darkness books because it helped you understand how the different vampire clans or mage traditions, and so forth felt about the other ones. I like that concept because it's a quick blurb that gives you a mental picture, and I think things like that are important.
Yep.
All right, let's move on.
All right, let's talk about the Anubians.
Oh,
these are.
Okay, there you go.
That's the way it is, people. All right.
Didn't even put a black bar. Didn't even put a black bar over it.
Nope, no black bar. There it is. All her glory. All right. The Anubians are both the oldest cult and the frickin' weirdest. Here it is. They are keepers of the thread of life. They are a cult that is over 10,000 years old. It predates Egypt.
The Illuminati?
No.
Is that who they are? Oh, okay.
They believe that Anubis touched the waters of this world and created a wave. And this wave spread across the world. At the beginning of this wave was life. At the end of this wave was death. Everything in between is all the things that the world experiences from life to death. Their job was to be like Anubis, to rise above the cycle of life and death and become immortal. That's their deal. Now, back in Egypt, they were shunned, they were cast away, but Egyptians still practiced Anubian mummification, but they did it wrong. I'm going to explain, if Max wants me to, I'm going to explain the right way you're supposed to use mummification, according to the Anubians.
Okay. Is it quick? If it's quick, go for it, yeah.
It's not quick. And it's also super gross. But doing it after you're dead is not the way it's supposed to be.
So to be fair, I've already got to mark this as light nudity when it comes to putting it on YouTube. So there's really not much else you could do to get ads taken away from this one. So go for it.
Great. Okay. Well, initiation for an Anubian is transformation. Those who are chosen are tested. Everyone is tested. There is a hollowed out finger bone filled with the bile of a jackal. If you are cut and you develop an eczema-like reaction that lasts from sunrise to sunset and then goes away, you are the chosen. You are now to be initiated. And like it says in the slide, this next part is gross. So I need you to tell me to continue.
It actually says, look, hey, is it information that's in the book that they'd be exposed to in the game?
Yes.
There you go. Then do it. Let's do it.
Okay. The initiate is thrown into a pitch black catacomb with surrounded by dead bodies, bones, rats, cockroaches, whatever.
I'm going to stop you for a second, and this is historical. I don't know if it was the book of the. If you remember back in the 90s, I used to be really big into occult teachings and philosophy and especially Egyptology and so forth. I can't remember if it's in the Book of the Dead, but that is actually an initiation right there for the priests of might have been Anubis, for some of the priests in ancient Egypt times, is to put them in a dark cave with no light, and it's a test of faith.
Oh, no. This one is not a test of faith. This is to purposefully make you insane and lose all your humanity.
Well, they're a little different, but I just want to say, but there, again, historical context.
Okay, there you go. Well, they are kept in this hole. They are thrown corpse meat and poison gruel as food. Literal poison. And as they slowly die from this slow-acting poison and rotten human flesh, they go insane, lose their humanity, get lost in their own mind from sensory deprivation. And right before they die, they are pulled out by their going to be master. They are covered in oils, mummified in wrappings, and a tube attached to their mouth, and placed in a hot area like a sauna. They're fed liters of water through this tube as the poisons are both sweat from their bodies and the oils absorb it. At the end of this, if they survive, they come out physically transformed.
How do I join?
Again,
sounds like fun.
It's not fun.
Do they only take prisoners for this? I mean, how do they get recruits?
No. This is considered an honor.
I'm sure.
This process changes you genetically. It actually says in the write-up that if a Spitalian were to look at the blood of an Anubian, he would barely consider it human. Their genome is changed. And at that time, they're tattooed with 7 circles radiating from their navel. Each ink is a different formula from the first circle to the 7th. This becomes important later.
Okay.
All right. Now, because of their transformation, they are now resistant and or immune to the African primer, which is called rays. Now, if you were watching the last live stream or saw it on YouTube, the rays is like a crystalline, I don't want to say forest, but crystalline vegetation that if you get cut, it immediately starts a necrotic process that goes through your body in minutes, straight to your bones, basically killing you.
And you have one option. Die.
Yeah, that's it. You just die. But not the Anubians. Because of this transformation, the Anubians are the only ones who can survive this. Their cells have become resistant, and they're the only ones who can survive with some basic medicine.
Does it say the survival rate of that initiation?
It doesn't give you numbers on the it doesn't give you percentages on the survival rate.
But I mean, does it imply like a lot die or or surprisingly few die or something?
It implies surprisingly few because it's the master Anubian's job to take the initiate out just before they die. So if initiate dies, it's the master's fault. Right? So now the Anubian after the Anubian becomes inflicted with the rays and survives, they grow in knowledge. They grow in knowledge of the Anubian way, of the scriptures, of the ways of Anubis, and about the Ka and the Ba, the life and the death, and how to rise above it. And then they are gone. They go through another ceremony. High level Anubians give them a jar, a Nopic jar with a jackal's head on it, filled with white liquid. They drink this white liquid. This white liquid pierces their mouth, pierces their tongue, splits their cheeks open. But because of their transformation, they start instantly healing, and their body transforms again. But this time, the seventh ring disappears, as if it was never there to begin with. They are now one rung closer to being like Anubis, above life and death. Now they can venture further into the rays. And now they're even more resistant. After a while, after you get down to 2 rings, you're basically immune to the rays. As a matter of fact, those who have taken the journey long enough can take fruit, rays fruit, which if you eat, you instantly die. You just die. Mm-hmm. You bite it, it gets in your bloodstream, and you die. Not the Anubians, not the properly initiated Anubians. They eat the fruit. Their blood absorbs it. Their blood changes. Their blood actually becomes medicine for healing ailments, healing the sick. This ritual is one ceremony I would not want to role play through. You and me both, brother.
See, I'm the opposite on that one. I would love to. I could never play this as my first character in the game because I wouldn't be able to do it justice. But for my 3rd or 4th character, after I played the game for a while, I would love to play an Anubian. See, I like, this is absolutely up my alley once I can treat it with the respect that it deserves inside the game context.
Yes. And the reason they go through all this, the reason that they transform their bodies to be resistant to the rays is because in the middle of the African rays is Cairo. Cairo is where all of the Anubians' ancient knowledge from 10,000 years ago, the original knowledge, is located. But no current Anubian can get close enough. The highest level current Anubian still has 2 rings. They can only get so close to Cairo before their immunity drops away because the rays is too strong. So their goal is to enlighten an Anubian enough to where all their rings disappear, and they can go into Cairo to get the scrolls, the ancient knowledge that came from Anubis himself, to bring all the Anubians above life and death, to conquer it, to become like Anubis itself, God among mortals. That's their goal.
You know, it reminds me, like in BattleTech, I'm a huge fan. By the way, it's my cat's name is Nova Cat. I like the Nova Cats because they're kind of the freaky religious cult sect version of the clans. I don't like any of the clans, but if there's a clan I do like, it was them. They became Spirit Cats later. Yeah, I like this. I mean, what's the name of the game I've got? Nephilim. I don't know if I'd ever want to actually play it as a game, especially nowadays since you can only get it in French. But I don't know. This, while I'm not into occult and you know, the Golden Dawn and all that other weirdness, John Dee and Edward Kelly stuff anymore, that was kind of a 90s, early 2000s thing for me. I still have enough of a background in that where I see something like the Anubians, similar to like the Celestial Chorus from Mage, where I'm absolutely, part of me is like, I want to try it. But again, I'd have to do it justice. So yeah, this isn't one I'd want for a new player.
No. You would not. This is way too involved. And you have to, it's very much like playing a properly playing a Nethermancer in Earth Dawn. You have to stay in character all the time. This is to give the Anubian cult justice. And let's go ahead and take a look to see what the Anubians think of other clans, and you'll see what I mean.
Okay, well, what are the African ones? The African ones are there's Neolibyans. Dinar after dinar, a useful aspect. They empower us to bring the chosen crows to Africa. Huh. Wait, what? To bring the chosen crows to Africa?
Chosen slaves.
Oh, okay. Slaves. I didn't think that. Okay, the Anubians were involved in it. Okay, cool. Scourgers. They are the lion's claw. They follow the path of the ancestors and teach the traditions of our people's past. We will join them on that path and lead them when they go astray. All right. What's a good Westerner that deals with them a lot that you read up on? Oh, I guess he went away. Let's look at Spitalians. In their hearts, they are like us, only bereft of any and all spirituality. They refuse to accept that there is a deeper level to this world and cling to their medicine and science. Even so, we can cooperate. Okay, so again, even though they're from...
The difference between the Anubians and the Spitalians is that the Anubians are adapting themselves to the effects of the primer, whereas the Spitalians are trying to combat the effects of the primer.
What I like about this, though, is it, again, isn't over the top. We hate them because they don't think like us.
No, the Anubians aren't racist or theologist or whatever that word is. I think I just made that up. But they can understand that you don't think like us. We think you're wrong, but we don't have to prove anything to you because we're going to become gods. So it's not going to matter what you think.
Crafty says, I think this is a better read than a game. I don't know. The Anubians can be difficult. Bruce Lombardo says this game is for primary school students. Just like, wait, the magenta box? This game is for primary school students? Just like, I don't understand the context there. Probably simulated kidnapping through, read that. It's time to get real. He says, boo, clans. Nephilim was okay if you get random bot. Yeah, it's been so long since I've looked at the game. It's on my shelf. You can see it behind me if you can see that small. I've got a bunch of the books for it. I got it in the 90s when I was deep into that phase of wanting to do everything occultish. But boo clans. I'm with you. He says
he was sarcastic. And then Bruce.
No, that's one time, Crafty. I usually get your sarcasm, but in that one I didn't catch it.
We didn't read it that way. But,
because I can see people saying that.
Hang on. If you like this, please subscribe. This is going to be the end of this particular YouTube video. There's one more after. We're going to get to all 13 clans, and the next video is going to do it. If you're watching us on Twitch, we're going to do it right now.
Wait, if there's just one more
YouTube, subscribe, and you will know when the last 13 clans drop.